It's been just a few short weeks since Amazon teased the addition of expeditions to New World, and this week we got our first sneak peek at the Amrine Excavation, a level 25 dungeon in the Windsward area. With Windsward being a starting zone and the relatively low level of the mobs in the dungeon, I believe it's safe to assume this is a low level dungeon, that we can expect much more to come. But without further ado, let's dive into what we know. On February 28th, the New World Twitter account seemed to be taken over by a character named Barkimedes. Over the next several days, we'd come to find out that Barkimedes was a possum pup, looking for his missing master, Simon Gray. Now, as the lure goes, Simon Gray went on an excavation trip in the Windsward area in search of powerful tech from the ancients that could be a massive asset for fighting the corrupted. Now this, I would speculate, might be a hint at what kind of loot we can expect to get. The thought being, it being a weapon to fight the corrupted, the perk that your loot might be, maybe Corrupted Bane. But let's wait to find out. As it turns out, Barkimedes could be found waiting just outside of Amrine Excavation, which is described as having many caverns and chambers. Now the loyal doggo is understandably worried about venturing in alone, but after some hugs and encouragement from the community, we embarked into the dungeon. One observant Twitter user was able to decipher the runes above the dungeon entrance, though his translation may be questionable. Now, as we dive in here real quick disclaimer. The following order of clips and events is arranged as best as I can figure it based on the information currently available. These are ordered based on the sequence of encounters posted on Twitter and by watching the quest updates in the clips provided. Venturing into the dungeon, a group of Withered are encountered, described as having the same presence as Simon's crew. Now, while it's not entirely clear if these spawn indefinitely, #AzothResurrection, we managed to get by and progress forward. During this sequence, we encounter what appears to be a puzzle of sorts. We're tasked with activating a bridge mechana that appears to require multiple party members to stand on various platforms throughout the cavern. With the bridge open, we find ourselves pitted against an abomination and needing to find the hallowed candle. Now, after acquiring the candle and journeying deeper, we appear to enter a rather large cavern. Here we encounter an elite ogre, and it would appear to drop some nice gear. Now, just behind the ogre, we can momentarily see another mob, labeled a Star Excavation Plagueist. This might be our next encounter, it might not. Either way, ascending the steps to place the candle, we see an area that highly resembles what we see in this image on Twitter, so it's safe to say the encounter will be in this room. It's presumed that placing the candle will trigger this encounter with the Elite Wraith, who turns out to be Foreman Nakashima. Now there would appear to be a bit more to this encounter than simply hacking and slashing at the Spectre, as we're encouraged to stay in the ethereal-like cages to avoid getting stunned. I see this as something of a good thing because it means we're not just running through and hacking and slashing stuff. We actually have to think about the things that we're doing in this dungeon, so great inclusion. With the foreman vanquished, Barkimedes is left wondering some of the same things many of us have been wondering. Has Simon become a lost? So let's dive deeper and find out. Traversing an unknown number of caverns and puzzles, we appear to find ourselves in another large cavern, confronted by another ogre. Only this one is indeed Simon Gray, now Dungeon Master. Now, Barky didn't provide any elaboration on what might be involved in this encounter, but we do see at the end that we get a named item drop, the Rapier Simon Gray's Toothpick. Now we can see that it's a tier 3, which indicates a gear score of somewhere between 300 and 400, and it being a common, that means no perks, so unfortunately, no Corruption's Bane. And that would appear to get us to the end of the dungeon. But there's a few things I want to look at first. Here on this last screen, we can see what appears to be an end dungeon chest, so more loot. There's some ore that I don't recognize, might be a new type, and there appears to be a mid-dungeon chest as well as some lure pages in the same area that we fought Foreman Nakashima. Other tidbits for me would include the unknown consumable that the player here seems to be carrying, as well as their outfit that I don't believe we've seen before. So there you have it. Based on the information that we have available right now about Amrine Excavation, the clips, as well as what was revealed on Twitter, that gives us a pretty good view of what it looks like the dungeon's going to be like. Anyhow, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, if you like the direction that New World seems to be taking, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe for more New World content, check me out on Twitch, and I will see you guys in the next one. So long.